So for my entire childhood, like I watched Liverpool sort of win a couple of times, but like not often. And I had to watch Manchester United win something every fucking year. And they're, 40 minutes away down the road. And so many comics are Man United fans, and I just fucking hate them. Again, I've got a respect for them as a club. Right now, they're so bad. And the way they ran is just hilarious. It's so funny. Like, from top to bottom, they're a shit show. And look at the joy. Like, look at, you see how it's changed on my face? So it's, like they're in a really bad spot. And I love it. I really love it. If I had to compare them to an NFL team, it's the Patriots.
Hey, everybody, come watch me do stand-up. I will be headlining in Janesville, Wisconsin at the Comedy Cabin, March 7th and 8th. March 29th, I'll be in Fort Worth in the Red Room at Hyenas up there. And then April 24th, Deric and I will be co-headlining the La Jolla Comedy Store. On April 25th, we'll be headlining the Comedy Store in Hollywood. So come out and see us then.
Hey, everybody. Come see Deric do comedy. I will be in Tyler, Texas, February 15th. That's this Saturday. I will be in the Comedy Mothership with Brian Simpson. That is April 4, 5, and 6. And then April 24th, I will be at La Jolla Comedy Store co-headlining with my good friend here, Ehsan. April 25th at the Belly Room in Los Angeles with Ehsan. And then April 26th or 27th, we'll be doing somewhere in San Francisco or San Jose. We haven't nailed that down yet, but the moment we do, you guys will be the first to know. Then May 2nd and May 3rd, I will be headlining here in Austin, Texas at the Velveeta Room. And June 27th and June 28th, I will be doing Janesville, Wisconsin, the Comedy Cabin. Come on out. Come see your boy. More dates will be added soon. I'll have a daughter soon. Enjoy the show. Guys, we have the good legend, the man, my boy, Adam motherfucking Rowe. What's up, dude? Thanks for doing this.
Me. You're so good at that, by the way.
Yeah.
You're so good at the handshake. Like,
yeah,
so many people like try and do that. And when when you've only met people like a handful of times. Because like I love you, but like we've met 4 times?
I think 4.
Something like that. So but every time it's like perfect. Like we've known each other since we were like 7.
Yeah, that's really good. I was telling Ehsan this. I was like, when I met him, Schultz did his pod when we were in Liverpool, and then he came and popped in at the theater show in Manchester, right?
Yeah.
And this was crazy. Like you got an accent. Clearly, you have an accent, right?
Yeah.
I remember meeting you, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's a Liverpool accent. But like a couple people who work with Schultz on the tour are also from Liverpool and have that same accent. So I can hear it, but it's nothing crazy, right? It was like, oh, he has an accent. Talking to you, yada yada. I go up, do 10 minutes, great, fun show, fun set. I bring you up, and you're talking like how you were just talking right there, right to me. Yeah. And then you walk on stage, and I'm on the side. I have no fucking idea. I told it was like you started speaking Chinese, and I just hear you. I hear just, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then the crowd, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? What is happening? Me and Mark were like, oh my God, what's he saying?
It's almost like you're watching someone cast a spell.
Bro, it was because it was like he wasn't just talking like that.
So when I'm talking to like you guys, or if I'm on stage over here, like my accent naturally softens. Like whenever I do like podcasts in the US, and then my like followers and fans from back home watch the shows, they'll comment and be like, why are you talking like that? And I'm like, because if I don't, then it's a really bad episode. Because the people I'm talking to, I've got no idea. But you're right. And it's me and Mark. So Mark Gagnon, who was one of Schultz's other like guys opening for him, we had a similar joke. And because he hadn't understood me, he went and did his. And I'd basically just done the same punchline. And he was literally on, and Mark was killing apart from this one line where he literally was like, fuck you guys, like, what was that? Because he obviously does this gag every night, and it lands every night. And there was just one moment when he was like, what went wrong there? And I was just like, oh, you couldn't understand me. And I've just done such a similar, like thing.
Oh, bro, we were on the side literally like, what the fuck? It felt like he was casting a spell. Yeah, it did feel like, what is happening?
Also, so there's a couple of things with that day. So you guys come to our studio in Liverpool and sort of came out of the way to do that because your show was in Manchester. And Schultz goes, "Are you coming down to the show?" And I was like, "Yeah, me and Carl and Steve and Jack, like all guys who, like Jack's like my tour manager. He's also the photographer for the podcast. He works for the podcast. He's one of my best mates. He's my housemate as well, me roommate.
Wow.
Carl's like my best mate from school, who is the producer of the show, and Steve like works for the podcast, doing like the advertising and liaison with like venues and stuff when we're doing live shit. So he was like, "Yeah, you can all come down. I'll get you tickets." And then the show was the next day. So the next day. And I'd just gone through a breakup as well. And,
I remember this. Yeah, you're
like
telling me.
Okay.
And I hadn't seen me dad for a while. So I say to me dad, do you want to, go out for lunch? We haven't done that for, a few months. And then we can go and have a pint. Like, I'm going to see a show tonight. Like we can have a few pints. I think I had between 8 and 10 pints of Guinness, right? Because Carl goes, "Oh, I'll drive to Manchester." It's like 45-minute drive. I was like, "So I can fucking let go. Haven't seen me dad for months. Like, let's do it." So I'm pretty, drunk. And then I'm on the way to the show and we're 20 minutes from the venue. And Schultz texts me and says, "How long are you doing?" And this is the first, because this is how a lot of your guys, like over here, it's just like, "Oh yeah, my friend lives 20. Of course, he's coming to the show. Of course, he's going to do a set." Like, it's not even in his head to be like, "Hey, you want to do a set? How long?" Like, none of that. It was just, "How long are you doing?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Are you going up? Like, what do you want to do?" And I was like, "Oh, like, what do you want me to do?" And he's like, "Yeah, 10, 15 minutes. Like, we'll get you in." And I was like, "Yeah, cool." So I got to the venue and you were all like meditating. You were all in the dressing room meditating. And I turn up and like Tanya's there and she's like, "What can I get you?" And I was like, "I need like 4 bottles of water now." So by the time I go on stage, it's like, because I got there relatively early. I think I got there, 6 o'clock for an 8 o'clock show. So by the time it comes round, I've sobered up a little bit, but I've still got 10 pints of Guinness in me. So once I go on stage and I'm in autopilot, not only am I in autopilot, I'm in autopilot in a city that's 20 minutes from where I grew up. And like, I could have the harshest Scouse accent. They hear it every day with people they work with and stuff. So yeah, I've just gone into, "Hey, I'm fucking," and you're the side of the stage being like, "That's not the same guy."
Oh my God, I can't believe you literally just flashed this whole day back. I remember being right when we shook hands, like, "Yo, what's up, bro?" You were like, "I'm kind of fucked up." I remember your face was kind of red. I was like, "Oh, he's been drinking." Because you told me,
yeah, in my head, I was like, "I'm just going to the show."
Also, there's no better feeling as a comedian when you're just like, "Oh, I get to just watch a show tonight." Because when do you ever get to do that? When you're like, "I'm just gonna watch a show. Afterwards, we'll hang out. At least I can drink."
But also, if I was more drunk, like I was okay. Like even though I'm like 8, 10 pints in, I was fine.
No, you were fine. I was fine. But I would have never known if you didn't tell me.
Yeah. If I was more in, I'd have probably said no. But like I'm never, that's a big room, and I headlined it like a couple of months after that, and it's great. But I will never ever turn down. Like when a big comic is in the UK, like especially if they're a friend of mine, if they're like, "Do you want to do a set?" I'm never ever saying no to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like so, I was like, "Fucking yeah, how long? How long you want?"
Oh my God.
That's so funny to me too. Just the stress of like, "Oh, I'm going up now." And I'm 8 pints in, and then the first thing I see is them all meditating. They're so locked in, and I'm the exact opposite of locked in right now. That's crazy.
Like, I walked into the dressing room. I remember, because Dov was just bringing you guys out of it. He's like, "Right, now we're all gonna come." And I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And then they were like, "Yeah, we need a little nap." And I was like, "I know this tour's making enough money that you could all be in a hotel room right now." But then you were like, "Oh, we had an earlier show, so we just had a little nap and meditation."
We did.
I was like,
I forgot. Yeah, we napped after the early show. I forgot about. I literally said "Oh yeah." We were like, "How about a nap, boys?" Oh, it was a good time.
But it looked like a fucking refugee camp. You're just all over the floor. There's not even pillows. It's just the floor.
Oh, dude. And then we hung out with Logan Paul that night. Do you remember that?
That was interesting because Logan was there because he was fighting KSI, maybe.
No, he Dennis.
Yeah.
Dylan Dennis.
The fight was the next night in Manchester. So they're all there. And you got to understand, like, for me, that was insane for, like, someone like that to walk in. You're like, what the fuck are you doing here? But then for the lads who just work for the podcast, we're like, why is Logan Paul and, like, Mike and everyone, like, just there? But yeah, we went to that restaurant afterwards, the Ivy.
Got hammered. I got pretty toasty that night.
The most, like, just the best bottle of wine on the menu. We'll have that, and every time there's an empty one, just refill it. It was just properly done.
Oh yeah, and then they. My favorite thing about touring with them is they order everything.
Yeah,
they order everything. You do feel bad. There's been times where they've ordered everything and we didn't eat anything, and then went to another restaurant to eat. After they brought everything out, and we're like, no, and then we just go somewhere else. And then there was food in the green room that we didn't eat. It's like, bro, it's crazy. But you know what's funny? I don't know if I remember this now. I don't know if you remember me telling you this. That night, me and Logan Paul's wife kind of hooked up.
What?
Yeah, dude.
What?
What does this mean?
So, Logan, I'm sorry, you have to find out this way.
What does this mean? Hold on. What the fuck?
So I'm leaving. I'm leaving, and they're leaving, and she was going around like, "Oh, great set to you, Mark," and she was like, "Oh man," she said it to me. So you beat me. I'm gonna be her. You say great set,
okay,
and then
wait, I say great set.
No, I'm gonna say great set to you, and then you say thank you and go for a high five.
Okay.
Okay. So, oh my God, you were so funny. Great set.
Thank you.
I was like, what the fuck?
Wait. So she, slow motion, just grabbed.
Just like that, like a fucking, we like fucking held for a second.
Yeah.
And I was like,
is that the end of the story?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, fuck you.
She's a really nice lady. But I was like, whoa. Logan, watch your girl, dude. No, she was super nice.
I was expecting so much more from that.
No, I have no shot. She's like a model. I have no zero shot whatsoever. He's shredded. Dude, he's huge. Logan's a big boy.
He was so, like, it's interesting, isn't it? Because, and you sort of talk about this. I've been seeing you do spots this week about, like, your wife, like, meeting famous people and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, obviously, you get to a certain point in your career where it happens more. But you always, I don't know about you, but, like, I certainly have, you have, like, these preconceived expectations of every individual you've ever heard of. So anyone you've ever, like, seen as, like, famous, you sort of feel like you know them and how they'll be. And he was just totally... I had in my head that he was going to be, like, an arrogant dick.
He wasn't, yeah.
And he just, he come in and, like...
He was with his mom and his dad. Remember? They were just so sweet.
And, like, Carl's, like, a big UFC guy and, like, just all combat sports. And he said something to him and Logan was like, yeah, but, you know, I'm a pussy, man. Like, it's just, it is what it is. Part of the, like, job. Like, he was just so, like... It wasn't the persona that you see, like, when he's on podcast doing trash talk and stuff. He was just really, like, sound and humble and cool.
Yeah, he was.
Like, it was... And I was just like, it made me feel bad about me for, like, expecting... Because I'm a dick on the internet, you know? And then when people think I'm a dick, I'm like, no, I'm playing. And it was in that moment, I was like, oh, I'm doing the exact same thing that I think everyone's a fucking idiot for.
Yeah, because you do forget that, like, we are talking mad. I mean, I just said I hooked up with Logan Paul's wife. You know, like, we are just talking crazy because it's funny. But then you meet, like, I do remember meeting him. And I expected more of just, like, just a YouTube kind of guy, if that makes sense. Like a famous, it's just an energy. Like when
famous YouTubers have energy.
There's an energy. Yeah, like when we went to the fight, we went to the Dallas Dennis Logan Paul fight. I remember not enjoying the environment because it wasn't like going to a UFC fight where people are crazy and rowdy, or at a football game, or I'm sure at a soccer, you know, y'all's football. I'm pretty sure like the rowdiness and yelling and getting into it is one thing, but everyone at the Logan Paul Dylan Dennis fight was like trying to like get famous. Like everyone had their phones out. Everyone was just trying to like find the clip. Because you're full of a bunch of internet people like that.
Right.
So that's what made that a little more disgusting.
I personally don't like going to fights in the UK. So, like, are you into the UFC?
Yeah, I love UFC, yeah.
So, you know Paddy?
Yeah, Paddy.
So Paddy went to, like, my school. Like, mine and Carl's school. He's, like, 3 years younger than us. He's done our podcast a couple of times. Paddy's great. And when Paddy and Molly McCann are on a card, like, we flew to Vegas when they fought in Vegas in December 23, and the crowd's great, and everyone's there. Even if they're like sort of fight pricks, like they're at least there for the fight. We went to one of the cards in London, and there's just people like throwing beers all night, and like hearing like our accent and being from Liverpool and being like, you know what I fucking hate, man? I hate Scousers. Like I hate Liverpool. And everyone's just trying to. The amount of fights in the crowd is just insane. And
Is it like that hooligan energy?
Sort of. It just fucking stinks. And like after that, like it was the UFC card where Tom Aspinall fought Curtis Blades and broke his leg.
Yes.
That fight. So it was that night. Wow. And I just went that I'm not doing another UK card. It just I didn't like it at all. But then when we went to Vegas, the atmosphere in Vegas was incredible.
Yeah.
And like very similar seats, like sort of mid-level decent seats, and like I just the energy, which is what you're sort of talking about, like everyone wanting to be like the
it was
guy.
just people trying to like, there was fights. There was just people trying to like have their viral moment. Like a lot of people you could tell were like, oh, this is like it just the phones out and then I remember we were watching it was so we were like a little farther back, like more mid-level, like great view, like great seats, but like Schultz is down there with the Mikey guy, the guy from Logan's pod. He's like right ringside, and watching everyone just fucking swarm this guy, trying to like get something from him. And me and Mark were literally watching. There was a point we stopped watching the fight, and we were just watching Andrew, and we were both like, "This is so impressive." You're just watching him just jujitsu pitchers and like being nice to these people who don't deserve it. People are being like just and grabbing, and he's just so like cool about it all. And I was like, "Wow, this guy is like
part of the job, though."
Part of the job.
Once you've got like I say this all the time. Like I still go out, for drinks like quite regularly with the boys I went to school with, and they love like shitting on me for anyone comes over for a photograph. The lads I went to school with are like, "Oh, Mr. Famous," like they, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like sometimes, like if they're being like, if you get one-on-one time and it's like with like a lad from school and they're like, "That's like 50 people who've asked for a photo tonight. Like, does it not drive you insane?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but the guy who's 50th thinks they're first."
Good point.
Do you know what I mean?
Great point.
Yeah.
Like they don't know you've took 49 other photographs in the last like 3 hours. So they're just like, "I like your work. Can I get a photo with you?" And you have to treat number 50 or number 92 or whatever number you want to pick. You have to treat them like you treated the first guy.
That's great.
Do you know what I mean?
I do. I've never heard it that like that. That's great.
It's so like it is. If you're on a night out with your friends, it's fucking difficult to do that because eventually you are just like, "Oh, I'm trying to have a pint and catch up with the boys." And the worst thing for me is like when someone, and I've started sort of like telling people off for this. Like they'll come up and they'll be like, "Oh, Adam, I love your stuff. Like, can we get a first? Yeah, let's get a photo." And they'll hand you the phone, but they won't address you. They won't like be like, "Hey man, do you mind taking a picture of us?" They'll just assume someone I'm with that's just like their job.
Oh,
do you know what
yeah.
I mean? And it's
I know
like
exactly
it's like that like this is what I chose to do for work, and my job as far as I'm concerned is driving or traveling and taking photos with people who like your stuff. Everything in the middle is fun. That's not the job.
Yeah.
The job isn't stand-up. The job isn't podcasting. The job isn't live shows. That's like, we get to do this and we're fucking lucky to do it. The job is being nice to everyone, even when they're drunk and being a bit of a dick and traveling to the stuff. That's on me to deal with it. But like, just because someone's having a pint with me doesn't mean that
they're all of a sudden my photographer.
Yeah.
That's a great. I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly because I have done. I mean, I've a million times done that for Schultz. But we know what I like about how he does it. And whenever I realize, oh damn, whenever I get to that point, get to that level, that's how you take pictures. Is he's I've never seen him say no. He says yes to I've seen him say yes to 1 billion people. He's never once turned down a picture ever. But what he does is he never stops moving. He takes the picture. So when people come up and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Schultz, can I get a picture?" He goes, "Yeah, walk with me." And no matter, even if we're sitting, he'll get up and be like, "All right, walk with me." So that way, it's like it's not a line doesn't form. He gets and then sometimes
That's
like a line will form,
clever.
bro. A line will form while he's moving, and he always takes the picture. Yeah. So that way, it's one and done. You don't get to. There's no. He's taking it and he's like, "Yo, boom, boom. Oh, thank you, bro. Boom, boom. Thank you, bro." And he never stops moving. And I'm like, "Oh, that's how you do it." Because the moment he stops, it's a fucking. You see it just kind of crowd in on him.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. But I mean, he's also at a level of fame.
It's a complete other. And like, there's lads I'm friends with who, again, like even where I live, are much, much, much higher up this ladder. and I'm just like even watching those guys deal with it, I'm like, yeah, that's what we're all sort of working for.
Yeah.
Is to get to the point where you're selling arenas, but that comes with it, and it like I understand why like super famous people because I'm not in any way famous. There's just like this like cult following and whatever. If you're super famous, I understand why those people just don't go out.
Right.
Like they need the biggest house in Hollywood because they need to put a fucking restaurant in it so that they can go and have their yeah.
Wait, were you out on the street that day with Rogan brought the table that goes in the green room?
No.
But you remember that story?
Yes.
Like, because I get why Rogan can't. We've been out with Rogan a couple times, and when you out with him, you realize because when you hang with him, you kind of like forget that he's the most famous man in the world.
First night I met him last night.
Yeah.
Oh, you met him last night?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
He was so sound, yeah.
But the green room at the club, it's its own special place. It's not like but the mothership. It's its own. It's a little world. It's not like what it is outside.
Yeah. So when you go with him, okay, because we've been with him where we go out, and you're out with Rogan, it hits you. You're like, oh, this is the most famous dude like on planet Earth, maybe. Like actually top tier fame, maybe the most famous guy on the earth. And bro, it's insane. It's like, oh yeah, he can't. He true like you were like you're reminded like, oh, this guy can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere for bro. He was outside when they were bringing that snake table that was in the green room.
Yeah.
So he brought that to the club. Like somebody made it for him, and he was really excited. He brought it to the club. So he was outside of the truck helping them like saw it in half for like
To bring it up the stairs.
to bring it up the stairs. And he was outside, and this is like right on 6th Street, right where we are right now. He's outside. He was maybe outside for 10 to 15 minutes. In that 10, 15 minutes, bro, everyone. Because people couldn't believe that Joe Rogan was standing on the street helping pull out a table out of a truck. Which, I mean, to be fair, I also would be like, Nick, and I know Joe Rogan, and I still would be like, nigga, is that Joe Rogan pulling a table out of a truck? Like, I would also freak out. But just to see and you're like, whoa, that's true. Like, yeah, that is a level of fame that's like, man, because you do want to sell out arenas and you want your pod to be the biggest and you want all these things. But when you see that, it's like, all right, yeah, he can't go out. He can't go anywhere. He can't go anywhere, dude. No, literally nowhere.
I was curious because this is the first time I've met you really this weekend, and you said you're more of a cult following. You said, but like as far as I can tell, you're like a theater act.
He's
right?
huge.
Yeah.
He was being crazy humble when you said that.
Yeah. So
no, what I mean is like if you stopped a random and obviously over here is like 0.00000%. But like in the UK, if you stopped a random person on the street and said, "Do you know who Adam Rowe is?" they'll probably say no.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They'll be like, no, who's that guy? Then maybe if you showed them like a video or my face, you might be like, oh, I've seen a couple of TikToks and stuff. Like I'm lucky that our podcast, Have a Word, we started that 2020 just before COVID. And then we've got a really devout fan base. And because it's so like avid and devout, it makes us look bigger than we are. You know what I mean? So like, we've got less than 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, but we've got 30,000 patrons.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean?
I see
So
what's
the
going on.
turnover's insane. And then on top of the podcast, I've like the comedy club in Liverpool, Hot Water, they started like putting clips out like 7-8 years ago. And I had a good few early on go viral with them. So that gave me like an initial platform. So I've got like this mix of proper stand-up fans who've just seen like clips from the comedy club, and then I've got all the like super fans from the podcast, which means, you know, when I put stuff on sale, especially in smaller rooms, it will sell out really quickly because there's a lot of people who want to come to everything we do. But like in total, like my UK tour did about 55,000 tickets.
Holy shit.
It's amazing. It's a lot. But like, so there's another guy from Liverpool called Paul Smith who's like, he was the resident compere of the comedy club. The resident like MC, the resident host.
Okay.
What word did you say though?
Compere.
Comper. That means host?
Yeah. Is that a Britishism?
Never. Have you ever heard that?
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, so like if you're comparing, you're the compere.
Whoa, that's crazy.
But we'll also use MC.
Okay.
But like, I didn't even know that. And there's so many of them. And this is what makes it fucking difficult, by the way, to be a British comic in America, is every word you guys ever say, we know about because we get every TV show and every film, and you get about 20% of ours. So the other 80%, I come over and I say, I remember doing a show in Gotham in New York. And Andrew was on that night, and I come off, and Andrew was like, "Do you know why that bit didn't work?" Because it was the only bit that didn't work. He was like, he's like, it needs a little tweak. He was like, it's funny, and I know it because I've been in the UK. He's like, they just don't like. It was a bit about a homeless guy asking me for money, I gave a homeless guy money, and the girl I was with was like, you should buy them food. And my punchline in the UK, which works every time, is, well, I think he wants cider. And he was like, over here, that's like a middle-class summer drink.
Yeah, cider. Yeah, right now I was like, yeah.
He was like, homeless people aren't drinking fucking cider in the States. that is what homeless people will drink in the UK. Because you can get 3 litres of like really cheap cider for like £3. So like maybe $2. And you get 3 litres of it and they can fucking drink it for like hours rather than like getting liquor or whiskey or whatever. But yeah, I said like cider and the whole room's just like, eh? And then I come off and he went, do the joke tomorrow and say whiskey or liquor and it'll work. And it fucking did. But there's these little like cultural, like they're tiny cultural differences, but they can be the difference between a joke killing and bombing. And there's no like middle ground.
Yeah.
It's either it does what it normally does or it gets fuck all.
God damn,
wild.
yeah. That's such a
But you guys
problem.
don't have that problem in the UK.
No, we
It
can
doesn't go both ways.
Bro, I went to Abu Dhabi and I did my exact normal set, and they got every fucking reference.
Well, I can do it in Abu Dhabi because it's full of British people who are on the run. Like the only place it's a problem is here.
Do you say this? Because James McCann, who's Australian, said this to me, and I never heard it before, and I wonder if it's a British thing too, where we were talking about my new jokes, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I like the new gear."
Yeah, that works. I mean, like I wouldn't say that, but I would immediately know what he means.
It took me the context of being like, "Say that again." He said gear, and I was like, "Oh,
So
is that
gear,
like a
gear
thing?
can be like any. Gear just means stuff.
Mm.
So gear can mean clothes.
I would take it as outfit, yeah.
Yeah, so I could be like, I like it. This is nice gear. And then like, people use it for drugs as well. Like cocaine is gear.
Whoa.
Are you on the gear? Like that's cocaine. Yeah. It could also be other drugs as well. And then, I've seen your stuff tonight, man. The new gear's good. Like, yeah, it works.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, that
just
made me
means
feel
stuff.
cool. It made me feel cool. The new gear. Hell yeah. Made me feel like Iron Man.
Oh, you were talking.
Paul.
Yeah.
So I can't remember the context why we brought this, but yeah. So he used to be the resident MC of the comedy club, and he's now like he's now selling arenas and stuff. I think he's done like 800,000 tickets on his last tour. But because we came up together and we're both from the same city and we're both really good friends and stuff, people are always like, "Oh, you and him are doing the same sort of thing," and I'm like, no. Like, I'm 50,000 tickets. I'm like, and he's doing that in like a weekend.
God damn.
Yeah, he's fucking good, and he deserves it. But because when the comedy club became viral, like the mothership here is now like famous because Rogan owns it, and he's got all these big guys who drop in on like weeknights.
Yeah.
Hot Water Comedy Club, because like of every video Paul did was crowd work and it went like really viral, and then they'd have like comics going in to record sets there, knowing that it would go out on the Hot Water Instagram and then had a better chance of going viral than if they put it out themselves. The club's got so much content online with their like logo and brick wall and stuff. So now people go to that comedy club as like a tourist attraction, regardless of who's on the bill. Like if Paul's on, or like someone else local who's got like a following's on, it is obviously busier. But like 5 nights a week, it's pretty full. And like their biggest room's 590 seats or something.
What the? That's a theater. 500. That's a small theater.
Well, they're all theatre style rooms as well. There's no tables. And that's quite common in a lot of UK comedy clubs too. Like no tables. It's just rows of seats.
And is there multiple rooms in this club?
Hot Water's got 3. So it's a 5, I think, I'd have to text. It's 500 and something. I think it's like 590, 570, 590, something
So
like
almost 6.
Yeah. And then, fast maths. And then...
That's why we keep him around, dude. This guy's good.
The middle room's 220, and then the smaller room's 140.
And they all run 5 nights a week?
No. So, like... Okay. They have their regular shows, and their regular show is sort of in whatever room suits the ticket sales.
Okay.
So anything over like 150, they'll put in the middle room. Anything over 200, they'll put in the really big room. And below that, they'll just keep it in in the barn. The barn, that's what they call the smallest room, the barn. But you can also, like, if you want to book in a show there, they'll let anyone hire the room for like a cut of the door sort of thing. And you could choose what room you want to do. Like, I've just put like 7 shows in for when I go back. And like 5 of them are in the smallest room, and then 2 of them are in the medium room. I don't want to be doing like Adam Rowe and Friends with new material in front of 600 people. It just feels like a it feels like a lot.
I get that, dude.
So and also it means that their regular show will be in the main room that night, and I'll probably drop in and do in there as well. And you can like at the mothership here, you can sort of
bounce.
Yeah. So okay, so in terms of making it big in the UK comedy scene. Did you have to like go to London, or were you able to just do this from Liverpool?
I've never lived in London.
Okay.
I never would. The only other place I've ever thought I would live is New York.
Mm-hmm.
And then I love the comedy scene here. I think it's great. And the fact that like I've gone out every night since I've been here, and I'm seeing the same people every night, and everyone's working, and everyone seems to be supportive and like each other, like generally speaking anyway.
Yeah.
But Austin's not what I expected at all. It's so quiet.
Well, you also came on a week where it's during the freeze section. The freeze. That's what we call it. The freeze.
The fucking freeze.
During the freeze.
I walked past Stubbs Barbecue yesterday, and there was a sign in the window saying we're closed due to bad weather, and it was 4 degrees Celsius. like I know you don't work in Celsius, but it's not even snow weather. It was just a bit cold.
Yeah,
Put a fucking coat. What the fuck's
shuts
going
it down,
on?
dude.
No.
A bit cold here, shut it down. Bro,
here's the thing.
shut it down.
It only happens 1 week during the year, and during that week, the entire city has decided we're all just gonna shut down. Like, and we're all never gonna get used to this week. We're all just gonna complain about it and not do anything. And 1, 2, 3, break.
And is that what's happened? Is that why?
Yeah.
Because I'm walking, like today, I knew I was coming here, so I got up, I went to Franklin Barbecue,
Nice.
joined the line, got in, like early, and then I was like, right, what am I going to do? So I walked, I'm staying on 11th, so I walked all the way down to South Congress and like did the shops there, like just had a little look. And I was walking around downtown, and I was taking videos, and you'd think we're in a fucking horror film. Like, there's just nobody around but crackheads. I was like, there's no way they run the city, because it feels like these are the only people. Like, even the other night, like Tuesday night. What day is it today? Is today Wednesday?
Thursday.
Wednesday. Today's Wednesday.
Oh shit, it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Last night.
Different drugs.
So Monday night was Ari Matty's birthday. So he was like, oh, we're going for drinks. And then yesterday, I don't know how much I drank. I don't know whether I just didn't eat enough or something on Monday, but I was fucking hammered and do not remember getting home. And when I woke up, there was a bottle of Miller Lite on the bedside table. And you know, when you look up and you see, oh, what the fuck? Like, I brought it to bed. Like what? Like, so yesterday, I was fucked all day. Like, I didn't leave the bedroom until it was time to go and do spots.
Yeah.
Or like an hour before that, because I was like, right, I'll go and get some food on the way. And some of the restaurants were closed, and other restaurants just had nobody in. And I'm walking past bars, there's nobody in. And then the mothership is like full. Like it's completely full. It's like the only place that's got anybody. It's just full. And I could not. I mean, obviously, if I've landed on the big freeze week,
yes.
But
I don't like the way you're saying it,
this is the capital of Texas, and I was walking around like this is just. It's just not what I expected at all.
No, it's literally, and it sounds insane. It is freeze week.
It's freeze week. You came on freeze week.
You came on the week where nobody does anything.
Because normally 6th Street, like,
dude, I went to the.
It's crowded. You can't. It's Mardi Gras.
It was busy at the weekend when I arrived.
And you know what's
Friday,
funny? That was light weekend.
Yeah.
I kept on talking to him. It's a light weekend.
Yeah, because normally it's Mardi. It's fucking wall to wall people. Like, it's insane. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
You think it'll be busier tonight? Because the temperature's gone up again today.
No, it's
still freeze week.
It's freeze week. It's freeze week.
Dude, it's freezing out there.
It's not even. It's 50 degrees out there. It's gonna be a ghost town tonight still. Because it's also Wednesday, so people are like, freeze week. The freeze includes Wednesday. That's my vibe. I know that's other people's vibe. Starting tomorrow, things will start like picking up again. Because then the temperature gets back to regular. and it's the
But
weekend.
can you explain like why? Part of it too is like because there's ice on the road. People
There
don't know.
isn't.
There could be. But there could be.
It's the threat.
There's theoretical ice on the road, maybe.
Threat
That's
of
enough.
ice.
The threat of ice.
Threat of ice is enough, and you don't want to drive with people who don't know how to drive in that.
And the threat of ice.
In the threat of ice.
Yeah, dude. It
And
gets
then
dangerous.
two, if too many people go out, then we have to raise the energy, and then we might shut down the power for everybody in Texas, which is what happened last time that it froze.
Shit goes south quick, bro.
Yeah,
And
when
all
it got
takes
cold
is
in Texas?
45 degrees.
I know I'm a Brit, right? I know I'm a Brit, and I understand that like this is like going to be really offensive, and I get it. But I've got to say this, okay? I like romanticize America. Like I love it out here. I love the comedy scene. I love the music. Like a big country music fan, which is why I was also excited to come down here, and it's why I love Nashville so much. And I always thought the UK was bad at handling stuff, but this is pathetic. There could potentially be ice on the road, and that might mean the whole country shuts down. What are we talking about? This is fucking ridiculous.
In defense of the rest of the country, it's just Austin.
Yeah.
Everywhere else would be like, we're just gonna go on as normal. Austin, we're like, hey, dude, the bank wasn't open.
Bank wasn't open.
The bank. That's how much we're scared of potential ice on the road here.
Me and Sam went at breakfast yesterday. She's pregnant, so she was like, I want breakfast. I was like, all right, let's go get breakfast. Every breakfast place closed, so we went to Waffle House. Open.
Yeah.
And stuffed. It was more packed than the mothership. It was fucking crowded at that
Because
bitch,
it was
dude.
the only place
It's
open.
the only place open. So that's how that. But it was that kind of a day. When the Waffle House is packed and everything's closed, you know, it's like, oh, it's a freeze. It's a freeze.
But today's like the last day.
Today's the last. Like people are out and about today. Things are open today. But also at night, people are gonna be like, well, I'm not gonna go out. It's still kind of the freeze.
It's still kind of freeze weather.
yeah. It's still kind of freeze. It's Wednesday.
Like I walked here and I was like warm. Because like everyone I've spoken to has been like, oh, it's the coldest week of the decade or whatever. I was like, well, I'll just put the hoodie on and the jacket over it. I'll tuck a t-shirt and I'll be nice and warm. I was walking in and I was like, I need a cold drink. This is ridiculous.
The coldest week of the decade is crazy. That's crazy, bro.
Everyone has like there was a big freeze in 2021, and
Yes, that was a big one.
That one it shut down people's power for like a couple weeks, so it's like that was a big deal, and people just have like this intense PTSD from that.
Yeah.
Yep, intense.
Intense
Because people
PTSD.
couldn't handle. They couldn't. The idea that it was that cold and that the power shut down. It was that cold. And since then, yeah, it's nerve. That's why theoretical ice is dangerous, dude.
But the funny part to me is ever since then, this has happened every year where it like freezes. And they've done nothing infrastructure wise to actually do anything. They haven't fixed the power grid. They don't have any salt to put on the roads. They're just like, no, we're all just gonna it's fucking dog eat dog for this 1 week. Survive, you idiots.
But you should be able to survive a week, and it hasn't even been a week. It's been 3 days. Like I got here Friday and it was 21 degrees Celsius. That's like 75 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, but Friday people were like, the freeze is coming. It's freeze week.
It's
It's freeze week, dude.
Yeah, dude.
From Wednesday to Wednesday, we're having
prepare.
a full freeze week.
We went and bought water. Me and Sam went and bought water, and we got like food that could be like like just eat the food that we can just
Non-perishable?
eat. Yeah, non-perishable food. Yeah, but it's freeze week, bro. It's for real. It's normally 112 degrees. So yeah, when it drops below 80, people get nervous.
It's not even cold enough to see your breath. Like it's not. It's fine. Like we're like 3 degrees below what I'd call like beach weather back home. Like let's get the football and go to the beach with the net. Like it's sad.
Wait, because you brought up this, and this I was telling Ehsan because you wasn't in the green room for this. Do you know Ari Matty? Did you know him already?
No, I knew of Ari. So I
before Kill Tony and Austin. and all
No.
that.
So I first sort of seen Ari's clip about the two gay guys in the cafe.
Yeah,
Right.
it went crazy viral.
So funny. I was on holiday and I was like, oh, I don't know who this guy is, but like you just know straight away. I was like, he's going to be a good comic, him. And but then a few of my friends know him, So I knew about him, and then coming out, I think he sort of maybe knew of me because of he's good friends with another guy from Liverpool called Kyle, and
The
he was
LeBron
just
James
great.
of comedy.
Kyle. I
Yeah,
love Kyle's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's got the strangest accent in the world. Like, I know mine can be pretty crazy, as we've discussed, but like Kyle's accent is because he lived in Australia for a long time, and he's from Liverpool, lived in Australia, and loves America. So he's just got this fucking weird,
This weird Frankenstein accent.
Yeah.
Going on there.
like just some dog that's been bred too many times. It's like, this is a whatever shit to do.
No, but bro, the argument you and Ari were having about his birthday in the green room, bro, that was the funniest. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
He wasn't there for that. Can you tell that's because you remember what happened?
Yeah, I do. So, right. So I met, when was his birthday? His birthday was Monday. So I met him Sunday night.
Okay.
Right, at the club. And then, we hung out a little bit. We went down to Banana Phone at Creek in the Cave, which that's a funny show.
Super fun.
Oh, I laugh all the time at it. The way
I'd be there every week just to watch.
Yeah.
I'd never do it. That's fucking...
No, it's insane. I've never done it. It's insane. I'm not doing that. That's fucking crazy.
The way I describe it, it's a way for a new comic to get jumped into the scene. So if you're like a real deal open micer in Austin and you don't do Banana Phone, it's like, are you an open micer? You know what I mean? Like, did you let the entire scene just take a shit on your appearance and your vibe and your general energy? Because if you haven't, you're not part of the scene.
So we just went there, had a couple of drinks and hung out. And then we both, like, as soon as the show finished, I went to bed and he was getting an Uber home. And the next day, I took myself, like, out and about. I went and got a sandwich. And then I was walking past Dead Rabbit, and I was like, I've heard this is a really great bar, so I'll just go and get a cocktail and sit on my own for a bit. And I did. And then he texted me and was like, hey, if you want to come by mine, I've got pizza and so I'm making some nachos, and then we'll hit up the mothership later. Let me know if you want to swing by. That was it. That was the whole message. I can show you it. That's the whole thing. And I was like, okay, I'll finish this cocktail. Where is it? And he was like, here. So I'm like, it's like an 8-minute Uber or something. I'll get out there. Get there. He gives me a drink. He's doing like margarita mix with Jack Daniels, which is a fucking wild combination.
That don't go together. That's insane what you just said. All right, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, we've got some cake here. Here's some cake and pizzas here, whatever. And then Dylan Sullivan was like, oh, I've got to drive down it because he was hosting the second half of the like open mic at the mothership. And I was like, oh, I'm going to come down and go up. So I went with him. And then Ari turned up at the mothership a couple of hours later and someone was like, oh, happy birthday. And I was like, oh, is it your birthday? And he was like, yeah, like, I invited you to my place. Like, there was cake. Like, what do you think was going on? I was like, well, I don't know. Like, I didn't know whether it was just fucking Matty Mondays. And you're just like, oh, we do this every week. We have some pizza and nachos and shit. And he's like, there was cake, bro. And I was like, yeah, it wasn't like a birthday cake. It was just a fucking cake. I was like, at no point have you gone, oh, I'm having a little birthday gathering with my friend. You were just like, hey, do you want to come to mine? I've got nachos and pizza. Even on the message, he didn't say anyone else was going. He just asked me to go around. I thought I just met a new guy. We had a new friend. We'd hung out a bit, and he was like, do you know what? I want pizza with Adam tonight, like, before I go to work. So I had no fucking idea. And then he was like, you're crazy. Like, what did you think was going on? I was like, nothing. I just thought you knew I was in town and sat in a bar alone and was like, oh, I'll invite Adam round for dinner.
Yeah, he goes, there were candles. You think I just have candles? And you were like, no one else said happy birthday to you. He goes, I remember you said another guy came over and was like, ooh, fries. No one said happy birthday.
No one walked in and said happy birthday. The first person who said happy birthday to him was backstage at the club. And I wasn't the last to arrive. People kept turning up. No one brought a gift and no one said happy birthday.
Oh, top tier argument. Two different accents battling in the green room. I was scream laughing,
Oh,
dude.
dude, Mad Mondays. That's true. If someone to tell you that, you're already like, Austin's a weird place.
Yeah, bro.
There's only crackheads. I guess they just get together at Ari's place
For
and have
cake?
Cake.
They have cake before spots. They eat cake in Austin. Oh my God. Yeah, that was so much fun. Watching you guys, me and Brian Simpson were screaming. I'm glad you got to meet all the boys. I saw you met Hinchcliffe. You got to meet Joe.
Yeah. Everyone. Do you know what's really good out here, mate? That like, I really wish I could sort of implement back home is really, truly big names play in the clubs.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen.
Really?
Like, I've been out here now in the States for 10 days, right? So I went to New York first, and I'm obviously going there on the way home. And I've done spots at the clubs every night. And I've worked with Chris Stefano, Giannis, Paul Verzi, Mark Normand,
All beasts. Well, yeah.
Dan Soda, like Rogan, Hinchcliffe, even like Ari is like 300,000 foot. Like, could easily be headlining. I was saying this to him the other night. That's like if I did every night in comedy clubs in the UK for 10 days, I wouldn't hit one of those equal names from the UK. It just doesn't happen. Like,
why is that?
The workout culture, I'm going to work out stuff, and it's just not really there. It's not that it's not there at all, and I certainly like going to comedy clubs more. The last few months I've felt a little lazy. It's sort of why I booked this trip in, because I was like, if I go out there and I can do some podcasts to promote the special I put out and just do spots in a place where no one really knows me, I think I'll get like the bug and start again, and I really have. It's done exactly what I wanted it to do. So I'll go back and be in comedy clubs pretty regular now. I've took a few months off. But like a really big name, especially like arena comics like fucking Rogan and Hinchcliffe and stuff. In the UK, they'll do their arena tour, and then generally speaking, they'll take 6 months to a year off. And then when they come back, they don't go to comedy clubs to work their new stuff out, really. And if they do, it's once or twice. And then they'll book in, we call them art centres in the UK. They're basically like really small theatres, like sort of between 100 and 400 seats. And they'll do like, you know, a few nights there, but it's all sold to their mailing list. So they're trying their new shit in front of people who not only really like them, but are the first 200 people on the mailing list who go and buy the tickets. So like big
diehards.
Yeah. And I just think generally speaking, you get worse as a comic if you're performing to people who already like you.
Yeah,
You know,
for
like,
sure.
100%.
You should be in clubs winning people over. And if you're in a club and you're famous, there's a combination of people there. There's, you know, there's people who know and like you. There's people who know and don't like you.
Great point.
There's people who don't know you. And that's pretty much it. And that unlisted on a show in a comedy club is pretty much, once you're famous, the best way you can try out new stuff. I think it's the best like litmus test for new gear. And that's what I love about out here. Like, and I think it benefits the comedy club, like patrons, like the people who go to comedy clubs. Like last night when James McCann brought up Rogan, the fucking pop in that room.
Yeah.
It's just not there as much in the UK. Now, with those shows I've just put on in Liverpool for when I go back, instead of just like texting the local guys, being like, oh, let me know if you want to come down, I'm trying to get some people who've got like a bit of a name to come and do them with me. And being like, hey, look, I'll give you, you know, a couple £100 and you can do completely new stuff. You're unlisted. You're not, you know, costing yourself any ticket sales anywhere, but you can come down and do it. Because I just think I think it's so much cooler that, like, you know, you can be on a stacked lineup. And also I think it benefits up and coming comics like even you guys to have to go on after fucking Joe Rogan's been on.
It's the best.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes.
That's when you have to follow Shane Gillis or Joe.
Because they're so excited about those guys. And then when you walk on, you know, there'll be some people who know you, but like there's a lot less. And you're going on to a bit of like, who's this guy?
Yes.
And like, if you can win them over, if you can kill in that room on a bill where it's otherwise littered with fucking superstars, then you're fucking well on your way. And that culture's just not there in the UK. And I do think it is on the way. I do. And I think that's because there's a new like, I always think the UK comedy industry is always between 8 and 12 years behind the States. So I think that's happened a lot with podcasting. You know, like, Have a Word, my show, was the first purpose-built podcast studio in the UK. There's fucking 50 now. But like, we were the first one and we started in 2020.
Damn.
Do you know what I mean? So it's always a little behind. And now what's happening in the UK is there's a lot more comics who are getting like Instagram and TikTok famous. And even if it's not famous, that they can sell 400 to 600 tickets in every city. So instead of doing and I don't want to bore you guys to death with like the differences between the UK and American club scene.
I want to hear all of it.
But like, okay, so the majority of comedy clubs in the UK are on a weekend, and by weekend I mean Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if you get booked for a weekend at a comedy club, you'll normally get Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I'll take, for example, there's the Glee clubs. So they've got a room in Birmingham, a room in Nottingham, a room in Cardiff, a room in Glasgow, and I think a new one about to open in Leeds, right? So if you get booked for Birmingham Glee, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, there's an MC, a compere, an MC, and 3 comics doing 20 minutes. That's the whole bill. There's no guest spots. Very rarely. MC goes on, brings up the opener, does 20 minutes, interval. MC goes back on.
How long's the interval?
15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
MC goes back on, brings up the second act to do 20 minutes, interval. And then MC goes on, brings up the closer to do 20 minutes, interval. Pretty much always, no one on that bill is selling the tickets. It's not like a headliner. Like, whereas over here, like, the weekend shows are normally headline shows. Yeah. Apart from, like, the Comedy Cellar in New York or whatever. Everyone on the bill is getting roughly the same money. It's normally about £200. The MC might be on a little more because they're seen as they can't go anywhere else. They can't work. It's just they're there all night. So maybe the MC will be on $250, but then everyone else on $200. So but also within cities, there's sometimes like embargoes. So it's like, if you're playing the Glee club, the other comedy club down the road that pays a little less, you can't go and do that because the Glee club are like, we're paying you, so like you can't do that one.
Yeah, no, that happens occasionally. Cities here that'll happen.
So it doesn't happen in Austin.
Not Austin, but San Diego would be that way sometimes. It happens sometimes.
New York is like that, I think.
And the only way you can then get a second show is if you drive an hour to the next city or whatever. So you'd have to like go on first in Birmingham and last in Nottingham, and that's tight. The shows have to sort of allow for that. But if you don't pick the double up, if you do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which is where they're the nights of the week where you're making money, you're getting £600.
And how much is that in an American?
$750.
Oh, that's a good weekend.
It is, unless you've got to pay for a hotel each night and.
Okay, I'm including like if you in my head I'm like, oh, you live nearby, you're just paying for gas.
Yeah, but like but the people on those bills are technically headliners. Like this is not people who are like 5 years in.
Okay.
They're 20 years in. They just don't have like a name. But I think there's so many comics now who are putting stuff on social media that it's getting to a point where some comedy clubs are struggling because you've got that comedy club, which like the Glee Club is one of the best comedy clubs in the world. Like when it's full, the room is perfect. But like they'll have a bill with 4 unknowns on who are killers. They'll kill. They'll do well. But down the road at one of the art centres is a new up-and-coming comic who's now got 100,000 followers on Instagram. And then at another venue, like I'm doing 800 seats. And then but there's only a finite amount of people who want to go out and watch comedy. And I think there's going to come like a tipping point where comedy clubs have to have someone on the bill whose name can sell some tickets. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they'll need to get them out of the art centre and put them in their club because they'll be losing people to the art centre every week. Mm-hmm. If there's someone there every week taking away comedy fans, the comedy club audiences will dwindle. And I think eventually it will get to a point where in the UK, the headliner, like the closing act, is on, £500 to £1,000, so like sort of $600 to $1,200, and everyone else is on a little less.
It's more like a weekend here in the States, your regular weekend.
Okay, so it's shifting in that direction.
I think so. Because, I've been doing comedy nearly 15 years. And sort of 10 years ago, if someone booked, like, a bar show in a pub somewhere, like the lineup would sort of run the same as like those weekend comedy clubs, but like it'd be a bit less. So everyone will be on like MCs on 150, openers on 100, middles on 100, closers on 150. Like sort of similar like that. Or like, and even if the budget was like doubled, it's sort of like 300, 200, 200, 300. Whereas now there's a lot more shows where like I get offered, hey, do you want £1,000 to come and close this show? And then I look at the rest of the lineup and I'm like, oh, they're on £50. And you're using me. You know what I mean? So if it's already moving with those sort of independent shows,
it's gonna
I
be
think
in
the comedy clubs are just they're just next.
Wow.
I think. I might be wrong. I don't know. I've been saying this for 5 years, and I do think in the next 5 years it will happen.
And that's what I guess that's where you're getting the number of like you guys are like 10 years. It's 10 to 8 to 12, I guess, somewhere in that range of right behind of everything that's happening.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's such an interesting way of doing comedy too, with intervals and intermissions.
It's the interval thing is so funny because out here it really does work without it, and I'm gonna try those shows I'm doing when I get back. I'm gonna try them American style. I want to see how it works.
Oh,
I just don't think it will.
Style. Why not?
So also in the UK they shut the bar while the show is on. So when there's those 3 sections, in that first section you can't go and get a drink. So people like before the show, people will get like 2 or 3 drinks or whatever to see them through to whatever. So they shut the bar, and that helps in a way because there's no distraction. Also, the staff over here at the comedy clubs are so much like more subtle and well trained than some of the UK ones. Like watching a UK waiter try and go and take a drink order silently and then deliver a tray of drinks silently during a show in the UK. It just wouldn't fucking happen. You'd just have a table full of like boys on like a bachelor party being like, yeah, we want 12 beers and we want 12 Jägermeisters and like it would be difficult for that to work, I think. Yeah.
Okay, because what I like about a lot of the mothership servers are like ghosts.
Yeah,
you don't even see them. It's fucking insane. But yeah, also in some venues in the UK, it is written into your like contract when you book the room that you have to have an interval so that they can sell those drinks and stuff. Years ago now, this was 2017. I did a couple of shows with Bill Burr, and the second one we did was the one in Manchester that we did with Andrew.
Yeah,
and he got told he had to have an interval after me before he went up, and he wasn't happy. He's like, what the fuck is the point in me having an opener? He warms them up. He spends 20 minutes getting them all fucking, and then it's like, right now, sit down, shut up, go get a drink if you want. Bill will be out in 20. He's like, we're not doing it. And then they had to show him his contract and be like, you have to.
Damn.
Your agent or whoever signed that you will. So 20-minute opener, 20-minute interval, headliner does an hour.
So that was that's interesting because we didn't for the Schultz shows that whole European tour. We didn't do any of that, but I'm assuming he made that in his contract.
Taken out, yeah.
Wow. Damn, I never even thought about that.
Damn, yeah, I didn't.
We didn't even
that night actually because I remember coming away with Carl because Carl like he doesn't watch as much stand up anymore now because he works in it and he's a producer of the podcast and stuff. But like one of the reasons we're best friends is that we both loved comedy and stand up, and that's what we used to talk about when we first sort of started hanging out. And I remember talking to him afterwards. He was like, "That worked so well, with no break. Like that was the momentum just kept going and going."
Yeah.
He's like that. He was like, I thought like an hour and 40 in, people would be like desperate for the toilet. He's like, but it just didn't really happen. It was just fine. It just worked.
You can just go to the toilet in the middle of it.
Yeah, but I think so. Again, it's the seating arrangement. So like over here, when there's like tables and there's space to move between to go to the toilet, that's okay. In like Hot Water Comedy Club, like the rows, like the next like fucking chair is there, and they're all like bolted to the floor, like theatre style rows. So if I get up to go to the toilet and there's 8 people here,
they all have to get up.
8 people have to stand up just so I can go and piss, and then they have to stand up again when I come back.
Oh, yeah.
And it also makes like table service with the drinks
impossible.
It makes that impossible too. So there's reasons why it doesn't work,
Dude, I love shit like that. I love it's just so interesting. Like, oh wow, that's so crazy.
The cultural differences in how we do stand up is so fun. It's so fun to. Are panel shows still a thing there?
I was about to ask. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that like
there's
something
less of them
Okay.
than there was sort of 10, 15 years ago.
Because I grew up watching them a lot. I would just have, for whatever reason, I had something that had them all on my computer, and I was like, oh, I'll
I
just
love
watch
that
this.
they've tried to do them out here a couple of times. Like Netflix has tried. They got like Jimmy Carr to do it because he was like the panel guy.
Yeah.
And America's just gone, no.
No, well, this is my theory as to why panel shows don't work here. Because I've seen a bunch of Americans try. The beauty of British panel shows is that like the points, it's the huge letters anyways. The points don't really matter. It's about being funny. In America, they put the game first. So winning and scoring points really matter, and that defeats the whole purpose of the panel show, which is just to riff and be funny.
Yeah. It's hard for Americans to not try to
Win.
We don't know how to cut that off, I think.
Yeah.
Also, I think there's a lot more respect for stand-up out here than there is in the UK. Like, over here, I think stand-up is seen as the best. Like, if you're a comic, that's the best thing you can be, is great at stand-up. Whereas in the UK, people use stand-up to become a TV presenter. They'll get into stand-up, they get their little break on TV, and then they're like, oh, actually, I just wanted to host the Sunday brunch morning show, so can I audition for that? Like, they use it to get into something else. It's like, for a lot of people, it's not the end game. It's like a route to the next thing. Whereas like over here, I think that's why over here there's a lot more stand-up opportunities in like the TV, like late night shows. There's a stand-up spot.
Yeah.
That's just not. There's no like chat show in the UK where they have a stand-up thing.
Really?
No. It's just not like, and I wish there was.
Yeah.
I really wish there was. Like, for so many reasons. A, to do it, but also B, because I think it would be like, there was the only one that we had him on our podcast recently. Actually, his name's Russell Howard. Do you know Russell Howard?
He sold out the Paramount here, I think. Recently.
Yeah. So he's
I
a huge comic, like really big arena like name in the UK, and he's a good guy. He's a Liverpool fan too, so I like him. And he come on our show recently. He's a good guy, and he had a show called Russell Howard's Good News, and it ran for like well over a decade, and it was him on stage essentially doing almost like sort of stand up about the week's news, because like he's there with like a sort of radio mic on in front of a live crowd, and he'd be like, "Did you see this news story this week?" And it'd show the news story, and then he would do like a bit about the thing, or like he'd be like, "There was a clip that went viral this week. Here's the viral," and then he would do a bit about the clip, and then so that show I think would air. Let's say it went out on Monday, it'd be like the BBC 3 at like 9 p.m. Russell Howard's Good News, and it was like a 30-minute show, but they would air it again on Friday and call it Russell Howard's Good News Extra, and there would be that 30 minutes again, but then there would be a 10 to 15-minute stand-up spot at the end of the show. And that was the only time it was ever like a thing to have like a topical show that had like a spot for new comics.
Yeah.
And that introduced me to so many comedians. And we said this to him, like, that was such a good thing for like British stand-up. You like put people on, like, who no one had really heard of. And, you know, like they were already sort of on the ladder and on their way up, but it was a really good intro for new comics. And we do have some just stand-up shows. Like we have like Live at the Apollo, which go like, there's like 8 episodes a year. It normally runs from like November to December. And it's an MC and 2 guests. And like everyone does, on the night you do 20 minutes and they edit it down to 7 and 12 for 2 different broadcasts. That's pretty much it.
Have you done any of those?
I've done Live at the Apollo.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it like just doing Live at the Apollo now, is that something that could, so when you did like, let's say Johnny Carson back in the day, it moved a lot of tickets.
Live at the Apollo did that for a long time, but not anymore.
Yeah, it's sort of like Late Night Now. Late Night Now doesn't seem like it really, no one's popped off a late night set in so long here.
No, like, yeah, it doesn't really happen. But the reason I was really desperate to do it is it was the show I grew up with.
Right, yeah.
So it was like a sort of like badge of honor for me, like, oh, I've done that.
Yeah.
And I'm quite romantic about certain things. So in my head, I was like, at some point, Live at the Apollo will end and it'll never run again. And I am now like forever part of the catalogue of people who did it. Like that felt like an important thing to me. It's also a cool room to play, and the clip looks great on your socials and stuff. But yeah, back in the day, if you did live at the Apollo and killed it, like the next day your tour would be sold out. It would just like fly, like big theaters gone straight away.
Damn.
Now it doesn't really do anything, really.
Damn.
But also the view, like, you know, the viewership, I think, is like an eighth of what it once was as well. Because people aren't really watching TV anymore.
No.
So you guys, it's the same thing. Internet clips are what makes anybody pretty much around the world now.
Yeah, and podcasts.
And podcasts, of course.
Damn.
Crazy.
Damn. That's a good little. How are you like? Where do you do like the Edinburgh Fringe? Like where is that in your world?
I've done it. So how many times have I done it? I did it in 2014 as like I did a mixed bill every day. So you're on the same lineup every day at the same time. And then 2016, 17, 18. Did I do 2019? Yeah, 2016, 17, 18, and 19, I did a new hour every year for 4 years. 2020, COVID killed it. 21, I went and did like a warm-up show, like a work in progress for like a week. And then 2023, I did the full month again as like I need to get a tour ready. It's like, again, like the Edinburgh Fringe used to be able to like break you. Like you would get like, you know, big agents will come and see you, TV people will come and see you, and you could end up on like every panel show from September to January because you had like a good Edinburgh Fringe run. That doesn't really happen anymore. But what it is really good for is if you're in a position where you know you can sell the room out every day, you can go and do an hour every day for a month and make money. Whereas if you go up trying to like pitch to TV, it costs you money because by the time you've paid for the publicist and all the big posters around town and being in the brochure and like a billion other things, like it can the money can really sort of tot up. And even if you sell out every day, you'll lose money. But if you can go up and just be like, I can sell 150 tickets a day, I'll be okay. Like then you can make, you know, a decent month's living.
Also, I mean, for every day for a month and doing an hour, you pretty much just toured and didn't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's 30 hours.
Yeah, it's 30 hours.
You just pretty much toured.
Yeah. And you by the end of it, you know, you go from having the idea for an hour to having a fucking hour. And on top of doing your hour every day, like you can also go and do 10 spots if you wanted.
On top of your hour.
On top, if you wanted to.
So you could basically get almost an hour and a half to 2 hours in.
Every day.
Every day.
But like last time when I went, so 2023, I went up there and was like, do you know what I'm going to do this month? I'm going to not drink for a month. Because Edinburgh can be a party month as well, because every comic is there. Like, all your friends are there. So, like, every night of the month, you could hang out with someone new. And you have 30 nights with 30 different friends. I was like, I'm going to come up, work on the show, look after myself. And I played golf 5 times a week for a month on my own. I would just get up at 6 a.m. I would go to the golf course. I'd play 18 holes. I would come back. I'd have lunch around lunchtime. And then I would nap for 2 or 3 hours. And then I would go out and do my show. I'd go to a bar after the show, have one non-alcoholic drink, hang out with people, go to bed and get back up again the next morning and go and play golf again. And it was one of the best months of my life.
That sounded amazing.
I got the golf score right down. I got the hour ready to go. And like, I've just said it now and I'm like, why don't I do that anyway?
That sounded so nice.
Just live your life like that.
Oh, it was fucking great. It was such a good month. And I'm tempted to go back to Edinburgh this year, but I don't know whether I'll bother yet. We'll see.
When is it?
August.
Because I heard about the whole you can just do a bunch of spots.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, maybe it'd be worth to check out for like just a week.
Yeah.
Just do a bunch of time.
Yeah. Especially there.
Especially there.
Because you haven't done Europe yet, have you?
I've never done Europe.
Yeah.
No.
The spots will vary between, you know, you might be performing in front of 4 people.
That's fine.
But then other shows you'll be performing in front of like a full 200-seat room. And it can really vary. And it's also dying as a festival because it's becoming so expensive for people to visit it. Like, and the laws changed in Scotland where like so it's so fucking stupid and it's like no one understands how anything's going to be passed on to people. But basically for the month of August, what landlords would do is they would like jack the price of like their apartments up by like, you know, fourfold. So like a £700 or like we'll say dollars, like $800 apartment, like it's normally $800 a month. They'd be like, it's $3,200 for the month. And they would make a lot of money in the month of August because there's people who just need a spot in the middle of Edinburgh for the month, so people would just pay it. And then about 2 years ago, like the government sort of found out people were doing this, like they didn't already fucking know. And they're like, right, well, what we're going to do is we're going to heavily tax that. So then the landlords didn't go, oh, so we're going to lose some money. The landlords just like doubled it again. So they were like, well, now it's like, now it's 5,500. And yet the tax is paid, but I'm still getting my 32 that I was always getting in the first place. So it's just made it so unbearably expensive for anyone to live there for a month. And I just think we're reaching breaking point with the Edinburgh Festival. It also doesn't have the value it once did. So
Yeah, in our 10 years of comedy, because when I first started, that was like the thing everybody had to go do, compared to now where nobody is like, oh, you got to go do the Edinburgh Festival.
Yeah.
Now every single person is like, drop a clip.
Yeah.
That's the only advice you get. And no one's saying go do any festival anymore.
Yeah.
But I remember coming up on like, oh, you trying to get in festivals and competitions and all that stuff where none of that matters.
Yeah, festivals might be dead. Or if they're on their way out, it feels like it.
Well, because it's not breaking you.
It's not breaking you. And then,
it's not breaking you. And also, if you're like, generally speaking, the deal at a festival, even if you're a big name, is always worse than if you just did the show a month later in the same venue on your own thing. Like the only real reason, as someone with the ability to sell tickets to do a festival, is to be like altruistic and give back so that there's people at the festival for lower names. But how many people are truly doing that and going, I'll take 10% less of the door, so that someone I've never met can like have their show for? Like, I just don't see it.
Yeah, this big name that doesn't. This is, you know, what's funny. This is how I know festivals. This is how someone told me that festivals are dying. Is that so? We have this festival here, Moon Tower.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Yeah, and last year I would say it's like just not as popular as it used to be.
Yeah,
and one of the days they were like, guys, come to the after party. There's gonna be pizza. There's gonna be pizza. They pump the pizza. They pump the pizza. By the time the comics get there, all the industry and the festival people had just eaten all the pizza, so there was none for the comics. And that was like, oh, when the food goes, the festival goes soon. I was like, that's a good point. He was like, you see, Skankfest always had food.
Yeah,
it's ran by comics, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Run by comics.
Ran by comics.
Run by comics who love comedy.
Yes,
and
that's not a traditional festival. That is a for comics, by comics, and for people who love comedy.
Yeah,
it's its own special thing.
I think that's a different thing. Yeah, and like genuinely, like for me, like long term, the plan is a club. I want a club.
Really,
it wouldn't be in Liverpool.
Okay,
because Hot Water's too big and I love them too much, and also you like the guys who run it are two of the best guys in the world. But if you fuck with them, then you get what's coming to you. Yeah. And you just like going up against them. They would put like a fucking truck outside the new club with their logo being like cheaper comedy with better comics down the road. Like, you just have no fucking chance whatsoever. And also like out of loyalty, I wouldn't want to do anything that would sort of that is there. But there's other cities in the UK that are big and have a lot of people who either don't have a comedy club or there's room for another one, for sure. And it's definitely something that the Haverware boys will, we want to do that.
Is this when you get to like arena level? Where you think you would like, or is this like kind of like a more Rogan thing where you're like, I'm almost 60, I'm not going to be touring as much. I'd rather just kind of be at one place more.
It's not either of those things, to be honest with you. I just want a really great club that I can work at that I know is for comics. Like the priority is comics come and do what they want to do, and it's like the audience, like that would always be our ethos, is the audience of the guests. And yeah, come to the show, but you get no input on what's going on here.
None. Fucking none.
Yeah. It's and like places like the Mothership is what's inspired it. You know, I've watched that from afar. Like to get to play that this week's just so like cool to me. Like I'm a proper nerd with comedy, so whenever I get to play like any venue that I'm like, oh, that's a cool place to go. Like when I got in touch with the booker here and he was like, yeah, we'll sort you out. I was like, that's really just fucking cool. And obviously I know that like I'm not a terrible comic and like I've got a following and you know, some people are just like, of course they'll book you. It's like, yeah, but still.
It's nice.
I'm from the other side of the planet, and it was just like, yeah, cool, come and do it. It's just really good. Yeah. It's the same in New York with like the Comedy Cellar and stuff.
Yeah.
When I get an email going, here's your 9 spots for the week at the Comedy Cellar, I'm like, this is just fucking crazy.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's great. It's class.
Should we start the pod?
Yes.
All right. By the way, none of that was on the podcast. we just like to get the guests warmed up. To start the pod, I think we just do the soccer one.
Yeah.
Because that's all we have time for.
Because we don't know anything about soccer, but I do have this shirt.
Okay. Okay.
He literally tells me in the car, he goes, I wore an Arsenal shirt under this. I just want to see his reaction. What is your reaction to this? You see this? How do you feel in your body?
It's a great shit. So Arsenal's fans are just like hilarious. Like they're really funny because like everything's like this mass conspiracy. Like they're constantly just like, the referees are against us. The other day there was they had a goal ruled out for handball. So like someone from outside the box had a shot, and their player was in the box, and he turns and it bounces off his forearm and into the goal. So they video review it and they're like, oh yeah, it's not a goal, it's handball. And Arsenal fans were like tweeting videos of it going, it hits his stomach, but like it's so clearly like it bounces off him upwards. Like there's no angle of anyone's stomach that a ball could go upwards. It hits his forearm. And so Liverpool and Arsenal technically right now are they're the two teams competing for the Premier League title this year.
Okay.
Liverpool are probably favourites right now because we're 6 points clear and we also have a game in hand. So if we win that, and that's against Everton, the game in hand. So if we win that, it'd be 9. And that would be difficult for Arsenal to get back. And I like Arsenal as a club because they're a proper club, great history, always before right now had like the right mentality of playing football. Like I've always liked them. They're sort of like, they're a rival, but there's like a soft spot, and it's like they tend to do things the right way. Mm-hmm. But at the minute, the fans, because they haven't won a title for like 20 years, their fans have lost their minds. And like when they lose, or even if they draw, like, because like dropping any points for them right now, they're just getting further and further behind. I follow Arsenal fan TV on Twitter because I'm like, I want to see them have a meltdown. Like it's not even my team, but I'm like, I'm gonna go and watch them cry.
Do you follow American football at all?
Yeah.
Who would you compare? Like, what is because I don't even know like what city Arsenal. What city is Arsenal?
London.
Oh, that's London. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Arsenal are like the 49ers.
Oh,
so
fitting. You're wearing it, you fucking loser.
I'm a 49ers fan. Yeah.
So the Arsenal like the 49ers because again, great history, really great. Like back in the day, really like some of the best players to ever play in the league have played for Arsenal. But right now, they're just the nearly team.
That's you.
Ooh,
you just described him.
Yeah, damn. And that's literally the whole game is we're going to ask you about these Premier League teams and give us like a football comparison to them. But yeah, that's crazy with the nearly team. Damn, this
and
fits.
You put that on. That fits crazy. He's a diehard Niner.
Yeah. I don't know. My dad, I have no connection to Arsenal other than my roommate in college liked Arsenal a lot, and I told my friend Drew Nickens that, and he was like, "Oh, here's an Arsenal shirt for your birthday."
It's a great shit. Like the classic football shirts are so fucking. They're beautiful, and that's class.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us about Man United.
So Man United are they're the biggest club in England. Mm-hmm. As much as that pains me to say it, because you know you could make an argument that it's Liverpool, but I do think you would lose that argument. Are you asking me to compare them to an American team?
Yeah, and sort of give us the vibe of what they're like.
And just your initial feeling.
What's your
gut reaction towards them?
Oh, just like genuine deep burning resentment. Like I hate them. You got to understand. So like in the 70s and 80s, like Liverpool were the guys, and then in the 90s is when the Premier League launched in the 90s, right? So that's when a lot more money came into the league. And it just so happened that as more money came into the league, Manchester United sort of took over and became the guys. So because of that, they've become the biggest club in England. They were always huge anyway, but they became the guys through the 90s and the noughties just as like the money came into the game. And it made it really difficult for Liverpool to catch back up. And it's only been the last sort of 10 years that Liverpool have been better than Man United. So for my entire childhood, like I watched Liverpool sort of win a couple of times, but like not often. And I had to watch Manchester United win something every fucking year. And they're, 40 minutes away down the road. And so many comics are Man United fans, and I just fucking hate them. Again, I've got a respect for them as a club. Right now, they're so bad, and the way they ran is just hilarious. It's so funny. Like, from top to bottom, they're a shit show. And look at the joy. Like, look at, you see how it's changed on my face? So it's, like they're in a really bad spot, and I love it. I really love it. If I had to compare them to an NFL team, it's the Patriots.
Wow. Okay.
In that, again, huge winning streak. Everyone thought they were cheating cunts the entire time they were winning. And they're in a real bad spot now because the big manager and the big quarterback, their best player, just disappeared. So they've just fucking nowhere now. That's Man United right now.
Damn.
They're the Patriots.
Damn. Okay, I like this.
This is awesome, bro. This is how soccer should be explained to me. Football. This is how football should be explained to me, bro.
Football in football terms. Man City.
Where's Man City, by the way?
It's in Manchester.
So there's two teams in Manchester.
Yeah. So it's like the Jets and the Giants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's some cities that have two teams. London's got fucking loads. So London in the Premier League alone, and you got to understand in England, there's the Premier League and the Championship, and then League One, and then League Two, and then the Conference, and there's so many football clubs that are in. They call it the footballing pyramid. So even if you just take it down as low as the Conference, so the Conference is technically amateur, but the team that wins the Conference goes into League Two for the next season, and the team who comes bottom of League Two goes into the Conference. So we have promotion and relegation. So the bottom three teams in the Premier League go into the Championship. The top two teams from the Championship come up to the Premier League, and the teams in third, fourth, fifth, and sixth in the Championship have a playoff, and whoever wins the playoffs also comes up to the Premier League with the top two.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So there's promotion and relegation, and there's a lot of money involved in that, especially into the Premier League. Manchester City are... And I don't like saying this really because I hate Manchester City too because they're apart from this year where it's us and Arsenal, the last 10 years where we've been competing for titles, it's been them, and they're currently accused of breaking quite a lot of rules financially. So they're owned by I think it's Abu Dhabi, the Abu Dhabi royal family own Manchester City, and there's rules with football now where it's you can't just put £1 billion into the club, because then if you get bored as an owner and you leave, then the way the club is now run, it probably won't be able to sustain that and the club could die. So there's regulations in place so that the ownership is being responsible. And because of that, certain owners can't just funnel money into these clubs. So there's rules. And if you respect the rules, it limits who you can buy transfer wise and how much money you can pay players. Because we don't have salary caps and stuff. It's just however much money the club makes, you can fucking spend whatever you like. So they put rules in place where it's you can't just put money into the club unless you can justify it. It looks like the way Man City have got around that is by going, hey, we own Emirates Airline or Etihad Airlines. So we're going to sponsor the shirts this year with Etihad Airlines. And then they're like, right, well, average shirt sponsorship is probably 50 million a year. And they're like, yeah, but we're going to do it for 200 million a year because it's our airline and we think it's worth that. So they're putting money into the club by using the other companies they own to sponsor the club that they also own.
Oh, classic rich people stuff.
You know what I mean? Anyway, I digress. I know everyone sort of hates them in America because they're sort of making the NFL boring. I kind of like watching the Chiefs because I think Patrick Mahomes is one of the best, if not the best quarterback ever. And I like watching greatness.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I say that all the time. I say that all the time. People get like, I love watching greatness.
But Man City are the Chiefs.
Man City are the Chiefs.
Yeah, they are. Like, they were fucking nobody until recently, and now they're like the guys. Yeah, so Man City are definitely the Chiefs.
Okay. Chelsea.
Ooh, the Dallas Cowboys, but they've won more. So, like
Dude, I love it.
yeah.
I love it. Even in the soccer talk, the Dallas Cowboys get shit. So.
Dunked on.
Like, obviously,
you, Dallas.
we're going to run out of, like, perfect analogy. Like, Arsenal are the 49ers, but, like, there's not everyone that lines up perfectly. So, Chelsea are, like, up until very recently, were owned by, like, a Russian oligarch. Like, he bought them in 2003 or 4. And he was one of the first guys who, like, bought a club and was a billionaire and was just like, I'm going to buy every player in Europe. And, like, he was allowed to do it back then because it was before the rules that Man City are now accused of breaking were in place. So they were owned by him for a long time. But then when Russia and Ukraine, like, started, like, having their little squabble,
They squabbled up.
it was like, hey, this Russian owner of Chelsea is sort of friends with Putin. He shouldn't be allowed to own a football club. So he was sort of forced to sell Chelsea. And he sold it to, like, this big consortium who was led by a guy called Todd Bowley. And their tactics was just like, right, the club is making quite a lot of money. And before financial fair play, which is the name of the financial rules, before that kicks in with us, we should just spend, like, literally £1 billion on 20 players. And then the ones that work out we'll keep and the ones that don't we'll loan or sell. So there's a lot of money at Chelsea. They're not going to win anything major this year, I don't think. But there's an expectation every year because they spend so much money and because they're, like, one of the richest teams in the world. There's an expectation that they will win something all the time. And they do win stuff, which I know the Cowboys haven't for a while. But like,
everything else, it sounded like Cowboys.
Yeah.
But they haven't won the Premier League in a while.
Not in a while, but it's also not been that long either. I think
Okay.
it was 2017.
Okay, so that's pretty recent.
It's either 2015
in
or
Cowboys
17.
terms, it's really recent.
Yeah. But that's the closest analogy you get to Chelsea, I think, yeah.
Damn. Do you have any teams off the top of your head? Do you know any?
Liverpool.
Oh yeah. I forgot to ask about Liverpool, which is my dad's favorite team.
Liverpool
Robert Saleh.
Liverpool are probably
Mohamed Salah. Robert Salah's the Jets ex.
I was close though. I was wait, he's Muslim though.
Yeah. That's
I'm
fine.
back.
Liverpool are probably like the Eagles in that they have won recently, not as much as they would have liked, and they've also been the nearly guys quite a few times, and also we think we're the absolute shit and our fans all fucking love being fans and we're the guys and fuck everyone else, and everyone else in the country thinks we're a bunch of cunts.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, you're the Eagles.
Eagles fans suck, dude. They're the fucking worst.
Yeah.
They do.
So years ago, when I first got into the NFL, so I love watching the NFL. Like this weekend in New York, I'll find time to go to a sports bar and watch the 2 championship games.
Yeah.
Like, I do really love it. But I don't have a team because I can't care the way I care about Liverpool.
Right, yeah, you're not
So
from it.
I've really tried to, like, care, but I just don't care in the same way. So because I don't care as much, I decide to just not. I basically want whoever's losing to win. As soon as the team goes down, I'm like, I want to see the comeback. Like,
The comeback.
Do you know what I mean? The only team I have a little bit like, I kind of want them to win, it is the Chiefs. And it's just because I know for everyone in America and for proper football fans, which I'm not, and I'm a proper casual, I know they're like, oh, I want to see someone else win. I want to see those guys not win. It's really fucking whatever. But I just feel like getting to say, oh, I seen the first team to do 3 in a row. Like that, do you know what I mean? Like, I want to see the historical thing.
I don't.
No, I'm the exact same way. I want to see the three-peat. I want to see the greatness. I want to see it happen.
But years ago, when I first sort of was like, I think I'm going to get in to the NFL. You know, I'm, you know, I have like insomnia, so I might as well fucking do something with it and stay up to watch the Baltimore Ravens every week. And a friend of mine was like, well, you need to pick a team. Just pick one. There's another comic. His name's Freddie Quinn. Very funny. And I don't know whether he watches it as much anymore, but at the time he was like, I'm a Packers guy. I'm a Green Bay Packers. And he's like, I like how they run. Like the fans own the club. They sell out
dope.
every game. It's
Yeah.
good. So like that's why he picked them. And he was like, you need to pick a team. And as I was texting him, having this conversation, I was watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So I was like, I'm going to be a I'm going to be an Eagles fan. And he was like, ugh, great, cool. And then everyone told me, oh, you don't want to be an Eagles fan, like they're a bunch of assholes and whatever. And because I was watching it and being like, oh, I don't really care anyway. And then the first NFL game I ever went to was the Bengals against the Rams in London. And I bought a Rams jersey. So I was like, I'm going to be a Rams fan. And then I just didn't care again. So I was like, and then there's NFL guys in the UK who are like, they're so fucking into it. They're like, yeah. So like one of them he's a really good mate of mine. I go to the Liverpool games with him. He's got 2 season tickets actually for Liverpool with him and his brother. So when his brother can't go, sometimes I'll take the extra ticket. And he's a Chiefs fan, but he's not like a glory hunting Chiefs fan. Like he picked them before this like wave of success. And he's like, you pick a fucking team and you stick to your fucking team. And just because it annoys him, I've got a Packers jersey, a Rams jersey, a Chiefs jersey, a Chicago Bears jersey, an Eagles jersey. And basically, like I'll be like, you know, like NFL Sundays where there's like 4 games on?
Yeah.
I'll watch the first one. If it's like a Rams game, I'll put the Rams jersey on and I'll put on my Instagram story, I'm watching my Rams. I love these guys. And then later that like day, the Eagles will be playing. I'll put the Eagles one. I'll be like, and it's just for Rob Thomas.
I love that. Dude. I love that.
And the one that really annoys him more than anything is the Chiefs jersey, because that's his team, and he's like, you're fucking not a Chiefs. So like last year when they were in the Super Bowl, I was going out to watch it with some of my with the podcast lads actually. I put it on and like just put it on Instagram. I was like, going to watch my Chiefs, my like lifelong Chiefs fan, getting to see these in the Super Bowl again. And he's just replying. He's like, you're a fucking arsehole. I just love it because he cares too much for someone who lives that far away. So I'm just not letting him, like, because it bothers him so much. I'm just anyone.
Wait, is American football the only one you do NBA or MLB as well, or just?
So I've been to all of them. Mm-hmm. When I've been in the States, I've been to see every sport you've got. So I've been to a Yankees game. I've been to, it's normally New York. I've been to a Vanderbilt University baseball game.
That's big. They're good. They're like always great.
I've been to a Rangers hockey game, and I've been to both the Knicks and the Nets.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I love going and being there, but the only one I really like enjoy, the only one I'll watch at home is the NFL. And the basketball, maybe a little bit. But and I like the basketball live. Like watching the basketball live when it's fast-paced and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, there's something about watching it at home just doesn't do it for me. But like the NFL, I can just sit there for hours and fucking watch it.
Fuck yeah.
And also, like a big criticism of it in the UK is, oh, it's so stop-start. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want, though. Because then I get to go on my phone and just like...
Yeah.
My little addiction here, and like it's, you don't have to, like with a game of football, like soccer, like I have to watch every second like I'm performing open heart surgery, like I'm involved with every like I'm so like the NFL's such like a, oh, what was that? Oh, is it another commercial break? Great.
Also, that's what I like about football is the stop-start, the discussion.
Yeah, you can.
There's discussion going on in between plays and in between things. Like there's actual guessing what's going to happen. Whereas like, yeah, you're not with something as fast as soccer or basketball. That's not. You're not like
also like
guessing.
The other thing for me, because normally I'm not comparing it to like basketball and stuff. It's only being compared to like our football, like soccer. So what I always say is like you can watch a game of soccer for 15 minutes and nothing really happens. They're just passing it around the midfield and like waiting for an opportunity for whatever. That can happen. In the NFL, it is stop-start, but every time it starts, something interesting happens, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like pretty much every play is either like a big defensive tackle or a good pass or like an exciting run or whatever.
Yeah.
So like every time, it is stop-start, but there's a lot more like, when it starts, you should watch it.
Yeah, it's carnage.
Yeah.
It's like, a car wreck. Every time it starts, bro, it's a car crash.
It's almost like if we can combine a car crash with chess,
Yeah.
That's how you get American football.
My mate Rebecca, she lives out in Australia now, but she's worked in comedy for years. But like, she's not really a sports girly like at all, and she's really intelligent. She went to like Cambridge University and stuff, and like she's fucking great, and she's so like sort of like right on, like the right thing, like sort of really sort of like liberal with everything and stuff, and just really because that those people tend to not be like the biggest sports fans in the world. And then a few years ago, she was like, "Oh, can we go and watch the Super Bowl together?" And I was like, "You want to watch the Super Bowl?" She's like, "Yeah, it's human chess." She's like, "It's not a sport to me. It's like I'm watching two people play chess, but with real people."
Yeah, with real people. That's it. Oh my God.
Yes.
That's why I love football.
That's
the battle between coaches, the mind of it all. I mean, I'm a football guy though. Like that's life. But that's
Who's your team?
I have no team. I love the game.
Yeah.
I love the game of football more than
He
anything.
didn't really grow up in a place that had a pro team.
So I'm from Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
So the only thing I'm a diehard of, like I'll go down and I'll ride for them forever, is the Memphis Grizzlies, which is a basketball team. But as a kid, my dad had season tickets.
Not even like the Volunteers. Not even like the
UT.
college
I
team?
hated UT.
Really?
I hated UT, but UT is in Knoxville, so it's just a different. And you just kind of like I would cheer for Memphis. I always cheer for Memphis, University of Memphis.
Yeah.
I would always cheer for them. But I loved Florida, but that was also mainly just because of Tim Tebow.
Okay.
But I love when I see somebody that I'm like, I love the way they play, I'll root for them. Like I hate, like, even though I'm a diehard Memphis Grizzlies fan, I hate the Warriors. That's his team. Steph Curry, all that. I hate him. But I'll watch Steph play and I cheer for him.
Yeah.
There's something about him that I have to, like, I'm a diehard Grizzly, but my favorite player to ever touch a basketball is LeBron James. So wherever LeBron has been his whole career, I've also cheered. Like, if they're not playing the Grizzlies,
Do you know what it
I'm
is? Like,
cheering
I
for
think
them.
it's because in 20 years, when you're talking about basketball with like someone younger, maybe like a kid or like, a nephew or whatever, you can speak intelligently about watching someone great play. They can be like, "Oh, have you seen this new guy's the best basketball player ever?" And you're like, "Shut the fuck up. You didn't see Steph live. You didn't
Steph.
see LeBron live." Like, that's what you're excited about.
yes.
It's the future. Like, you don't know.
You don't know. I saw it.
You didn't see it.
I
yeah.
saw like when the kids were there shitting on Tom Brady. It's like, bro, you weren't there. 7 fucking Super Bowls. It was fucking madness, dude.
Do you think Mahomes will catch him?
I don't think he'll win 7 because it's just so fucking impossible.
Even if he wins this one.
But here's what I think: if he wins this 3-peat, which I think he's gonna do,
Yeah.
he immediately with the 3-peat, he is now.
Number 2.
Well, he's already number 2.
Okay.
He's number 2 greatest quarterback of all time. He's number 2. I'm sorry, Joe Montana. He's just the stats and everything and how he does it. He's the second greatest quarterback of all time, in my opinion. If he wins this 3-peat, the argument has begun. I don't think there's an argument yet. It's because some people are already arguing it. No, it's Tom Brady. It's not even close. He wins a 3-peat, the argument begins. Now
It can't be Tom Brady and it's not even close because that's 2 games away. So that's fucking close.
It's not close. Like right now, I don't think there's an argument.
Tom has 7, right?
Tom has 7.
If he wins,
It's 4. But that 3-peat counts as another one.
Okay.
So now it's 5.
Okay.
5 and 7 is like, well, now the argument has begun. If somebody says, well, I think Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time, he 3-peated, it's like, he did 3-peat. I have to give you that argument because the 3-peat is impossible, bro. It's the hardest championship to win in sports because there's one, you got one game.
Here's a question then. Okay. Forget the 3-peat, just for a sec, right? So let's say he doesn't win this one, but he does eventually get to 7.
He's the greatest quarterback of all time.
If he gets to 7.
If he gets to 7, just because the way he's the best quarterback to ever play football. If we're just talking about playing the
Like
game
talent.
of football, talent, he's the most talented quarterback I think to ever play football. And it's cool because he is the Tom Brady of this era, and I do think Lamar Jackson is the Peyton Manning of this era. Whereas there's a guy winning them all, and it's like, man, he's the best. Lamar Jackson is the best football player on the field every single time, no questions asked, period. He's the best person playing football on the field every time. But he's not getting it done in the big games. And just like Peyton Manning was at the same time, Peyton Manning is technically a better quarterback than Tom Brady, probably. You can make that argument. He technically probably was, but bro, what Tom Brady can do when there's 2 minutes left in the game and he's driving down in fourth quarter, it's fucking insane.
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes has that. 13 seconds, bro. There were 13 seconds on the clock, bro. Josh Allen played a perfect game and lost. That's fucking crazy. And yeah, so I love greatness. Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback. If he wins his 3-peat, yeah, fuck it, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. If he wins a 3-peat, bro, 3 Super Bowls, Back to back to back?
I don't want to see it.
That's fucking
don't wanna
great.
see
Yeah,
it.
that's because he beat y'all
Well,
that
the,
shit.
Yeah,
the
big
Super Bowl's
twice.
this week, though, isn't it? Whoever wins that game,
Yes.
the Bills Chiefs.
Whoever wins Bills Chiefs wins the Super Bowl. No, well, you know what though? I will say this: if Chiefs win, they're winning Super Bowl, right? If the Bills pull this win off, and for some reason they're playing the Commanders, I think that that rookie is gonna fuck around and do something crazy.
Because this is what the lesson from the Tom Brady era is. There's always a fucking wild card. There's always for every Tom Brady, there's an Eli Manning.
Yeah.
And what better fucking wild card than this rookie that came out of nowhere if Washington can do it? So
But the rookie's not retarded.
yes,
The rookie's actually a great quarterback who's not stumbling upon. Eli Manning stumbled
right,
with
right.
his retarded face into win.
But I'm still saying that there is a wild card inevitability, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, a Nick Foles.
There's something there. So it's like, if Washington gets in the Super Bowl because they're playing with house money, and they're not supposed to be there, that makes them a level of dangerous of just like, oh, bro.
I know what you mean. I think Josh Allen is unbelievable, and
Yes.
I'm not speaking as intelligently as you guys are on this, but
No, he's unbelievable.
from what I know, he's unbelievable, and I just think if he gets past Mahomes, the mentality they'll have then is we are the best team, we will win this game, and we've just got over the one thing we've failed to get over. Is it 3 times? He's lost. It's 3-0, isn't he?
3 or 4?
0-3.
Is it 4? No, this is the fourth. 3.
In the playoffs.
3.
Yeah. So I think, and I just think if it's Mahomes up against the rookie in the Super Bowl final,
He's gonna crush him.
He's gonna cry. But what I was gonna say about the
I love how the Eagles are just not in the conversation.
No, dude, they're not winning fucking nothing.
I think that coach is gonna end up costing them a big game here. But the thing about the Bills, let's say the Bills win, and it's this big emotional game where they finally overcome Patrick Mahomes. They do have the what's it called? It's like coming too early. You know what I mean? They might have had that emotional release a little bit too quickly. And a big emotional win absolutely can drown you to the next.
I think that's the case if we're playing, but I think elite athletes, I think they use that to fuel the next thing.
I've seen it both ways. I've seen it both ways where the team it shot the water a little too quickly.
Chiefs. All this discussion means nothing. The Chiefs are winning.
I know. What are we talking about?
And I know he does it.
What are we
Every time
fucking
we start
talking
talking, he'll start saying all these great theories, and
What the
it's
fuck are
like,
we
oh,
talking
that's
about?
great. You know they're gonna win. He's fucking Patrick Mahomes, bro.
Yeah, it's fucking annoying. Fucking sucks being an Arsenal fan.
Adam Rowe, you're a fucking legend. This was so much fun. I feel like me and Ehsan didn't have to do anything. We're 2 hours in, and you did everything.
Have we done 2 hours?
Hour 40. Hour 40.
Okay.
I'm hour 45. So yeah. But I feel like I didn't say anything. We had questions and got to none of them. Got to not a single one. You just fucking you have a very you can Tim Dillon it, I would say. and the nice compliment. You know how to fucking I'll just do it. I'll do the bot. I got it. You guys just fucking sit there, dude. Yeah, you're a great guest.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much for coming.
Go watch Adam Rowe's special. What's the name of your special?
The latest one's called What's Wrong With Me. There's 4 on YouTube, though.
4
check out all
different
4 of
hours?
them.
There's 4 different specials, yeah. So the first one's only 40 minutes. That was like a club special. So that's Club Comic. The second one's Imperious. I don't love Imperious, to be honest with you. Then there's Juicy, which is one long story. And that's one of the most popular things I've ever done. And then the most recent special, which we spent so much fucking money on getting it done, and it looks fucking perfect and sounds perfect, and the production team just nailed it. That one's called What's Wrong With Me. It went out in November, and yeah, it's doing well.
You're the fucking man, dude. Guys, Adam Rowe, go watch it. Have a word. Listen, he's just the fucking best. Thank you so much for doing this.
Cheers,
brother.
boys. Thanks for having us.
You're the man. You're the man. Go Liverpool. I'm a fan.